All right. So today's topic is power of change. In a sense, it's a little hard to know what to say about something that is obvious, meaning change is inherent in life. So what is there to be said about it? It's part of life. Like breathing, it's part of life. And yet there's so much to be said about breathing. Similarly, I suppose the place to begin in terms of change is to ask ourselves, and the answer is obvious, most people don't like change. They're afraid of it, they get overwhelmed by it, they don't want change. Not just they don't like it, but they don't actually want change. And yet, as I said, the obvious thing is that change is a part of life. So resisting change is like resisting existence. Resisting life itself, not your life. Please understand what I'm saying. When we resist change, when we fight change, and I don't mean look for transformation. That is not what I mean. But I mean this idea of I don't want something to change. I want something to remain as is. I wish things could remain like this, and nothing does. So when we come at it from that perspective, we are actually resisting existence, life itself. And that actually is the cause of the struggle, the suffering. If we really accept it, change is a part of life. Something new is coming, which can bring challenge, excitement, new solutions, new ideas, new results. Then we would look at change, embrace it, do what we have to, think, feel, process, and then get into action in terms of creating what we want. This idea that I don't want something, so I just resist it, isn't enough. I don't like this, the way it's going, the direction that it's going. Then we stand up and say, okay, from a wide angle, what is it that I need to do? How can I make the best of the current change that is inevitable, that is going to happen? That's actually what we're talking about, right? Embracing it by becoming proactive with what is in front of me. I see that some of you are asking to join live. Absolutely, you can. You can also just type in a question if you want here. Maybe that makes it easier, because for some reason, when we try to go live in the past, it hasn't really worked. See, I'm sending you a request. See, try and see if it works for you. Can you? Not so simple. Okay. Oh. How to deal with procrastination. The only way out is in. Look what happens. Procrastination is a quality of mind. So Darshan, I see that you want to join. I will put in your request. In the meantime, I'm dealing with how to deal with procrastination. First of all, procrastination means you're afraid. It means you don't want to make a mistake. It means you're afraid of getting it wrong. It means you don't have energy. It means you don't have confidence. It means you don't have the power to know that you can get it done. So you create all kinds of excuses, stories, reasons to avoid jumping into moving to complete what it is that you want. So now you have a choice. Do you sit with fear, procrastinate, give yourself stories, excuses, give others stories, excuses, and disempower yourself, which will become a self-fulfilling prophecy, meaning you won't be able to get the results you want, you'll validate yourself, and you'll procrastinate more even for the next decision or choice or options. So get into action. Just risk. Don't worry about making mistakes. Move forward and see what happens. Rishi is asking, I visualize that change can bring discomfort. So I choose to stay in the present situation. Are you very comfortable in the present situation? You're absolutely right. Resistance to change is tied to getting so comfortable that you don't want to step out. Now, if that comfort is peace, content, you're in acceptance of that present situation without the noise in the background that says, I should, I could, I want, but I'm afraid to lose my comfort, then you're not at peace in the present also. See? So then the only way, again, out is to jump in and say, let me see what happens. Embrace the change, try it out, experiment, navigate as things transform. Because it's part of life. Sometimes change passes me by and I become aware of it only after the fact. Next time I jump in and then change does not come. How to make the right decision? No. Change cannot pass you by. One thing to another thing. Next thing will change. Your moods change, your thoughts change, your emotions change, your body changes, circumstances change, situations change, your perspective on someone changes, your opinion about someone changes, your choices change, your decisions change. It's constant. So don't worry about it. If something passed by, there's the opportunity for another thing. It will come your way, right? It's when you're stuck in trying to make the right decision, which means intellectual diarrhea of contemplating, thinking, processing, paralyzing oneself to not act. That's a different conversation, right? There is no such thing as a right decision till you act and reach a result. You have in your mind what the result should be, and if it's not that result, you say it's the wrong decision. But look back in your life and you'll see you made some choices. The results were not what you wanted them to be, but looking back, you say, thank God that didn't work out that way. Suddenly the wrong decision becomes the right decision. Suddenly you're thankful that you went to the flow of the change. So get out of your head this idea of the right decision, the wrong decision, the one I make a mistake in. Do your due diligence, make a choice, and move forward. That is how you embrace change. That is how you know, okay, I'm acting, I'm strong, I can get to where I need to be, and I will navigate as I need to while I'm driving. You don't sit in the car, get all the directions, and then worry about what if there's a block along the way, what if there's an accident along the way, what if there's too much traffic. You will never reach any destination, not the destination you have in mind. Not only that, you will never reach any destination. Fear of not being able to get approval from others, fear of not being liked by others, fear of not pleasing others, fear of not getting recognition. These are the things in the background when we are in resistance to change. Yes? Let's see, other questions. Nutritionist sent a request to join. I keep sending you requests, but somehow it doesn't seem to be happening. See if it works for you. Shailesh, hello. How to see that change? Just give me a moment. I see you're on. It's wonderful. Give me a moment. How to be more established in Vivek, or that everything is changing? Well, how to know that if I put my hand in water, I'll get wet? You've done it many, many times. It's obvious. You know it. It doesn't work. You don't have to be established in knowing everything's changing. It is. The sky is above your head. You don't have to go on reminding yourself, oh, sky, how do I know firmly and surely the sky is above my head? It is above your head. Know that. That's part of life. You see, the thing is, the moment you realize this is how something is and I can't change it, then you relax. I don't know if you've heard, Guruji talks about the 4 solutions to life. First solution, know that everything is changing. It's going to change no matter what I do, how much I hold, no matter if I lock it in a corner or in a room, it's going to change. When you know that, really truly know that, accept that, see it as part of life, you relax. You don't resist, you don't get scared, you don't fight it, you go with it. If that doesn't work, then the second solution, Guruji says, is know that it will never change. Meaning, tell yourself, oh my God, this situation is never ever going to change. Gravity will always be there. I would love to fly. I want to fly. I want to be like the bird in the sky. But gravity is never going to change. It'll always tether me to the earth. What happens then? You accept it. And you just keep moving. Okay, that's how it is. If that doesn't work as a solution for change or for whatever's happening in your life and you can't embrace it or accept it, the third thing is valor, courage, strength. Come hell or high water, I am going to go through this. This is an attitude that you will find most people who are really truly happy, who are really truly dynamic in life, have at some level or another. Those who lack that valor, that conviction, that strength, that stamina, that willingness to be uncomfortable, the willingness to go through discomfort, pain, challenge, hardship. If you're not willing to do that, you will discover that your comfort zone gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you find yourself without vitality and juice for life. Then you find yourself simply existing, getting by, and doing everything you can to maintain what little you have by holding on tightly. And that energy, that effort is far more than if you were to let it go and leap in forward. So the third solution to life's challenges, change, is valor, courage, confidence, willingness to go through struggle, willingness to embrace discomfort. And then if that doesn't work, you have to surrender to a higher power. Meaning, in this moment, I do not see any value in this. I am struggling. It's very, very hard. And though I cannot see, I have faith, trust that the divine, that life itself is not against me. It is walking with me. It is here to serve me. And this will lead me to my greater, higher good. That is faith. That is trust. That is confidence. That is recognizing that there is life in a large view context, far bigger than I could ever see it for myself. And so I move with it. I am surrounded in love, though I cannot see it. You know, a mother will tell a young child again and again, give the same answer. If the child says, why is this like this, mom? The mom has a lot of patience and keeps giving an answer. But if a 15-year-old keeps asking the same question, the mother will say, enough. How many times did I tell you the same thing over and over? And she will appear impatient, as if there's no love. She will appear harsh, as if she doesn't care. But actually, that's not the case. She cares just as much, but she's now saying, you are strong enough, empowered enough, capable enough to handle this, solve it, look for it, and move ahead by yourself. It is actually a greater sign of confidence from the mother. Just like that, any hardship that is coming your way is a sign from the universe that you have the strength, the valor, the confidence, the abilities, the skills, the talent to get through it. You have to recognize every opportunity in life to see there's grace at play in your life, no matter the challenge. You know, it's one of the biggest things that is discussed in the Bhakti Sutras, in the path of love. Recognize grace in life. What is grace? Okay, there's an opportunity in front of me to learn and to grow, to serve others, look into deeper aspects of life, whatever that might be. But look for grace in life. That is a wise person. That is a person looking at light and not the darkness of things. That's more questions. How to be more established? I read that one. Sometimes in relationships change, including friends, family, and partner. And those changes feel like a type of grief. Gabrielle, I think, is the name. Not sometimes, dear. Relationships change all the time. Look at your own life and your own perspective and your own outlook on a relationship. Look, go back when you were a child, your relationship with your parents had a certain intensity, a certain closeness, a certain center point of view, like there's no one else bigger, better, more valuable, necessary, important than my parents. That's how your relationship was. And as you got older, that changed to friends. They became the center of your focus, and the intensity of your love and care and attention and energy went all to friends. It's not that you don't love your parents, but your interaction, your outlook, the way you engage, something within you changed. That love moved from parents to friends. And then from friends, it moves to your boyfriend or your girlfriend. They become the priority of your love. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's necessary. It's part of life. But your love, your relationship is changing from parents to friends to acquaintances to the boyfriend or the girlfriend or the partner. And then you get married, and that changes again. And then you have children. And your relationship with your spouse, your partner, your parents, your siblings has changed. It has really transformed from where it used to be. And if you look from that hindsight, you would say, oh my God, it's as if I don't even care, but that's not the case. External gestures, behaviors, outlook, perspective appears to have changed. And when your children grow up, then you're now saying, where do I put all this? The love, the care, the attention. And maybe the universe will say, now look to yourself. Don't wait that long. But yes, relationships change. It is part of life. Stop trying to hold on to it exactly the way it was. I'm not saying that to you. We've all gone through that. And it does bring grief. Sometimes it brings enormous grief. Yesterday or day before, I was listening to a Bhakti Sutra from Gurudev. And he spoke exactly, he mentions how every change or a break in a relationship is a death. Really, if you give yourself a chance to go through it, it is grief beyond imagination, because you not only let go of the relationship and the reliance and the trust and the camaraderie and the companionship that you had, but you also let go. You have to grieve what you thought was going to be. When I'm 90 years old, what I will be doing. When I'm 70 years old, what I will be doing. All of the, what we know, expectations that we build around this relationship brings disappointment. Disappointment is another word for grief. It is part of life. Don't shy away from it. Don't run away from it, but lean into it. Embrace it. Decide. Solution number 3, I will love even more. I will give even more. And I will connect with even more people. Get out of the narrowed comfort zone of me, myself, mine, and go into all, us, we together. Are you with me? Okay. What else? Who else? No more questions. You know, it's a topic that we can talk about forever. But here we go. It's a personal question. I've been given additional responsibility at work, and this definitely needs my presence, especially during the month of June. Exactly when is the TTC schedule? You're a little crazy if you think this is the moment to find that answer through me and you don't think you're empowered enough to connect to the TTC desk and find out. Should I postpone TTC? That's the decision you make. If you cannot make this decision, how are you going to handle the additional responsibility at work? You have the power. You have the clarity. You know what you need to do. It's that you're trying to hold on to both. No, you need to let something go, move into something else, and come back at some other thing. Or decide you have the strength, the skill, the talent, the power, and the time to do both. Have you ever noticed? You ask someone, hey, can you help me out? Take care of my dog for 5 days. Oh, no, I'm so busy. I can't. Absolutely, I cannot do that. I have my job and me and, all the housework. Okay. But then they have a boyfriend. And suddenly they have time for the boyfriend and their job and all the other things that existed. Then suddenly they get married and have a child, and they have time for the child and the job and the husband. And their sister has a child. They have time for that. Notice our capacity, our potential, our skill, our ability, our talent is so much more. How do we tap into that extra talent, skill, gifts? You got to get out of your comfort zone. You got to get out of this rigidity in the mind that says, I can only do this, I cannot do that. Don't see yourself as some limited, small person with limited potential, limited resources within, abilities, talent, energy. All this is infinite. It's available to you if you choose to accept it, to own it. So I don't know actually when the TTC schedule is. I'm no longer involved in TTC for many years, since like 2013 almost. And whether or not you should postpone it, I think you have an answer to that. Either way, I love you and support the decision, because there's no right one or the wrong one. You just choose. I'm not able to hear you. Well, I'm hoping that others are hearing me. I don't know how to fix what might be going on at your end. What else? Let's see, one more question, okay? It's almost 9, half an hour. If I see one more question, there aren't any more. All right. If you don't have more questions, I can wish you a good, happy, beautiful day. I have panic of public speaking. Did you know that it's a bigger fear than fear of death? If you ask people, what would you rather do? Speak in public? Or are you more afraid of dying? People are more afraid of speaking in public. Because do you know why? It's a bigger death than a physical death. Just think about this, what I just said for a second. When we speak in public, what is at risk? Not our body, but our ego. The facade, the pretext, the image that we create and put on and protect with all our might, that others should see of us only what we want them to see of us. Others should perceive us and recognize us the way we want them to. Public opinion, their like, their dislike, their approval, their recognition, public pleasing, or as we say, people pleasing. It's all about preserving the ego. So we do everything from dressing a certain way to talking a certain way. There's classes where they tell you to, have gestures on how you speak. All rubbish. Rubbish. Because it's all about protecting ego. And people, the audience loves the person who's real, who's natural, who's present, who's available, who's open, who's allowing, who's just willing to be vulnerable and themselves. That's the simplest key to public speaking. So don't worry about it. Who you are is perfect. As you are is perfect. Let go of this idea of how public speaking should be. You have a comparison in your mind. You have some idea of how you should speak based on what you've seen. You can only be you when you go up there and speak and share your thoughts, and we move on from there. You know? So look, your title is Let's Go Soul. There's a reason why your tag or your name on Instagram is Let's Go Soul. Trust your soul and tell your soul, let's go for it, and go speak in public. It's finished. One person or 100 people, it's all the same. Not very different, you know. Just be choosing to lean towards choosing to be authentic, genuine, sincere, willing, and available, and everything works. I'm just going through, making sure there are no other questions. How do you know you are in the flow if that choice is a part of the flow? Flow arises when thought, action, and energy are one-pointed. Look how you are measuring flow. You're measuring flow if in that question is the assumption, if I get the result I want, how do I know when I'm doing whatever I'm doing? I want to remind you, it sounds lightweight, but flow is when thoughts, actions, and your energy are aligned. That is when you transcend time, when you transcend limiting beliefs, limiting ideas of yourself, doubts about yourself, judgments within yourself. That is when you invite the higher power of the universe, the higher power of life, to enter into what you are unfolding the moment you're in, and that power will carry you to your higher, greater destination. That is flow. So Shailesh, what I'm saying to you is trust yourself, get behind your decision and your choice, and move. And don't be afraid of the changes that come that are not exactly how you imagined it to be in your mind. And you will see only joy and success are in front of you. Going with the flow and not planning much for the future, is this embracing the change or just a dormant form of procrastination? You know, embracing change doesn't mean being stupid or ignorant. Going with the flow doesn't mean being reckless. Going with the flow is if your spirit, if your clarity, if something within you is saying, I need to go in this direction, but this is so comfortable, this is so easy, I have it, should I let this go or should I go that way? Anyway, it's changing, the economy is changing, the world is changing, how we work is changing, my relationships are changing, where I live is changing. Anyway, everything, my mood, my outlook is changing. Am I going to base my decision on what has been, which has already changed, or am I going to make my decision on where I'm headed? That is different from free flow and not looking into anything. So that's not really what we're talking about, you know? Awesome. Thought, action, and energy are aligned is flow. Okay. How do I let go of a belief that I have to figure everything out before I'm going to be successful? I feel like it's death. That's how you let go of the belief. If it's killing you, let it go. But you somehow have hope, you know, that I will figure it out. You're giving your mind a lot of importance, your ego a lot of importance, your past thinking and experience a lot of importance, that you, with your limited experience in the head, will put all the things on paper and rationally, logically, through your intellect, figure it out. And there is always change. Change means a variable, an X factor of life in which you have no control. And God bless that it is there, because routine, lack of change would create boredom. Boredom leads to frustration. Frustration leads to violence. Just look, there is value to change. But somehow you haven't really accepted that by fighting it, I'm killing my own spirit, my own power potential. Is that belief serving you? Absolutely not. Otherwise, you wouldn't be writing that question. It keeps you from seeing grace in life, as you say. It doesn't serve you. So replace it with a different belief. That's up to you, isn't it? Replace it with a different belief. You've replaced hundreds and hundreds of beliefs. At one point, cotton candy was the most valuable thing in life. Chocolate, I couldn't live without it. Dad, you didn't bring me chocolate. Maybe today it's the same also. Then the car, then this, and now I believe that the only way is to be spiritual. And all beliefs are beliefs, positive, negative, or neutral. They are not you. And the more flexible you are with the beliefs, the more your identity, your sense of self is wide and expanded. Yes? Okay, I think I've taken a lot of your time. We've spoken for 30 minutes. I've been trying to decide if I should stay in a 8-year-long relationship or not. All is well, but something tells me it might be time to go. However, I'm afraid. How should I will deal with this fear? If you're clear and you know what you want, you're 100% sure, then the answer is obvious. How to overcome when faith is getting less. That's when you need faith. You know, faith is about trusting in the unknown. Otherwise, it's a belief. When you rely on what you know, that is not faith. It is absolutely not faith. It is about trusting in something unknown. Guys, look around in life, you know. Just look around in life. When someone gives you a gift, you say thank you, right? Gift means someone else gave you what you didn't expect, what you didn't earn necessarily, what you didn't ask for. That's a gift. And then we say thank you. I mean, sincerely, not just the words, but you get touched in that moment, like, wow, that was so sweet. Can you look around? Like, if someone gives you, you know, earrings, you say thank you. Wow. But who gave you the ears to put them on? Do you ever say, God, thank you for these ears? I can hear, I can keep my glasses on there, I can wear earrings, you know. We never say for the smallest of things. We don't recognize grace right in front of us. We think, oh, my body. What do you mean, my body? What? It's a gift to you. You came in with the body. There you were, you. And then you trapped yourself into a little cell, maybe. And one cell became 2 and 4 and 8 and 16, and it kept going. And then you became a 7-pound body that popped out. How did you? It's a gift. It's a gift. Your talent. Oh, I'm such an amazing artist. Your effort in taking the talent, yes, I can give to you. But the talent, it's a gift. Intellect, it's a gift. Memory, I can remember things. That's a gift. Friends. How come some people have so many friends and some people don't have any? It's just they're not monsters. People are good, warm, loving, caring people, and somehow they just don't have. Because some have gift. You know, Ashtalakshmi, right? You must have heard that, right? There's 8 different types of wealth, or 8 different types of gift that is given to us. Ability to eat and digest food is a gift. Having food is a gift. Having health is a gift. Having family and children is a gift. Having the ability to succeed is a gift. And you may not have all the success you imagine, everything you imagine, but look, friends, family, health, home, shelter, faith in the unknown. You don't know how this body was given to you, this intellect, the family that you're in, how they were given to you, but it's all a gift. Faith is relying that I will be loved, I am taken care of. Is self-love in conflict with service? See, if self-love is indulgence, then it's just boosting the ego. But when you come, you will hear, right, this, okay, you take care of yourself. Oftentimes, first you have to define what you mean by yourself, and most people say yourself means my body. But if you think, you say, oh, this body is the house in which I live, and therefore I will take care of this body, then the possessiveness, the ownership of me and mine changes, identity changes. Then you are, in a sense, in service to health and wellness and positivity and being optimistic, which naturally serves others. Self-love is not, I only need to do what I need to do and have what I need to have. You will find yourself lonely and isolated. Define self and love, then you'll see that the answer is clear. Okay. All right. It's 10 after 9, which is a lot of time of talking and contemplating and listening, I suppose, and some of you might be driving and all of those things, but that's perhaps enough. I know that many of you are going through tough challenges and struggling with things, but trust in something bigger, and you'll see that you'll find your way to clarity. All right. I love you all. Wherever you are, you'll be safe and happy and healthy. What would you tell a victim of abuse on a spiritual path? I have no more faith. Can you please talk about abuse? Look. First of all, at least if you look from the perspective of the whole, look from the perspective of not a singular direction. First, let me tell you what comes to me is, when I was young, I used to fight with my father continuously because I would come at life and the world and situations from black and white, right and wrong, should be and should not be. This is good, this is bad, this person is good, this person is not good. My mind was very, well, lawyerly, if you want, left brain. Fairness and justice and all of that. And I'm not saying that should not be there. I'm saying I would fight with my father because I was very caught up in this idea of right and wrong, black and white. And my dad would say, sweetheart, and he would actually call my mom and say, you have to teach her because life operates with gray. It is not so black and it is not so white. It's all a different shade of gray. Different idea of 50 shades of gray, but you get the point that I'm making. And until he passed, I actually didn't realize what he was saying. Only when I went through so many different challenges where I felt by myself and not necessarily supported in what I thought and believed, quote, believed, and I went through it, did I start to see, life is so much bigger. It's gray, if you will. Gray sounds like a bad color, but I've learned to see that it's not necessarily that way. So that's the first thing, I would say. And the world functions on black and white. The world functions on making some people right and some people wrong, something's good, something's bad. But when they actually examine themselves as an individual, they see everything is gray. We look for forgiveness, we look for understanding, we look for acceptance, and we navigate our own story so that we can feel comforted in what we think is right or wrong. No? But since coming on the path where we're looking at it from the perspective of Vedanta, and just because you get on the path of spirituality, it doesn't negate life for what it is. But coming on the path, when I started to see this notion of oneness, wholeness, then this idea of victim and culprit became very different. One of the things that has always amazed me in walking this path is promoting this notion that not to separate victim and culprit, but bridge compassion between the two. Gurudev would always say, if you look just a little behind a culprit, there is a victim. There is some ignorance, some unawareness, some lack of understanding, some stress, somewhere where the mind, the ego, the thoughts get caught. And if you happen to be someone who has to navigate the universal constitution of humanity, understand what I'm saying? In my house, as a parent and an adult, I make decisions and choices that serve my little family, my children, my spouse, and so on. If I'm a leader of a country, then I make rules and laws that guide the prosperity and the well-being of my country, my citizens, my group, if you will. But if the Constitution, if you're a leader for all people, not the good ones, not the bad ones, not the right ones, not the wrong ones, not the Hindus, not the Jews, not the Catholics, not the black, not the white, not the Spanish, but all of humanity. If your mindset, perspective, vision, drishti, approach is universal humanity, then you must write the Constitution for all human beings. The victim and quote, the culprit and quote, the citizens. That Constitution has to provide prosperity and peace and protection for all people. And the path of Vedanta, the path of spirit, says, leave matter aside, not ignore. Leave matter aside, not ignore. Surface rules, regulations, should be, should not be, do not ignore, but rule, prioritize through spirit, through love and light and care and compassion. What that means is every individual will be asked to elevate their consciousness. Are you with me? Signal to me somehow that you're with me, because you've sort of all disappeared, but show me that you get what I'm saying. We, the one walking on the path, if we want to transform society, then we must create a constitution that is not for me, the victim, the culprit, the citizen, the right guy, the wrong guy, the bad guy. No, we have to look from such another perspective that we have to elevate every human being. The victim elevates, the culprit, quote, culprit elevates, the citizen elevates, the leader elevates, the organization elevates. How? We acknowledge where we each individually need to grow, self-empower, ask and look into change, and then not just throw a rock through a window for a solution, because that's very linear. Because in solving for 1 or 10, it is very possible that we sour and disrupt and infect the peace of 50 others. So universal constitution, this notion of oneness, wholeness, spirit consciousness, spirit choice, decision, direction, cannot come by looking with a black and white solution. We know we have to do a balance of both. Values have to be cultured in everybody. Only then do we transform how things are currently done. And remember, even Krishna encouraged Arjuna to fight, to shoot the arrow, kill, quote, his own people. But how did he do that? Not by pumping one side and pushing the other side. How did he do that? He elevated Arjuna to a conscious state in which he could somehow expand and embrace something wider than his narrow vision. Are you with me? Krishna elevated Arjuna. He started with pumping his ego and then took him to the light of light and said, look who you are. You are greater than the events and the circumstances and the situations that are in front of you. You are greater than your beliefs. You're greater than your right and wrong, because what is right changes to being wrong. What is wrong changes to being right. Time, society, moment, and how conscious the world is determines how we move. You had the Dark Ages, where we moved one way, and then you have the Middle Ages where we move another way. And we, in this moment, as we are talking, in this exact moment, we are saying, how do we, whoever we are, elevate our consciousness? And with that in mind, how do we move? Which means settling down, quieting down, calming down, and then saying, what is the appropriate action here? Because if you simply shoot, innocent people also get injured. I don't know if that helps. I can't say, it's not that I don't understand. I could say, as a woman, there's that sense of minority, if you will, no matter where you go. I live in America, I'm Indian. If I go to India, I'm American. If I go to, Holland or Latin America, whichever, I'm the foreigner. We tend to categorize challenges and problems, and then we look to solve them by very linear means. And one who is wise, one who has a big angle on things, will not increase conflict in order to solve conflict. He will look for a wide lens, and he will treat each individual, he or she, will look to each individual and ask that individual to elevate. Yes, what happened is this way. From the relative, by rules and regulations in society and world and standard, not correct. All right. Now, do we crucify? What could I learn? What could the culprit learn? What could the rest of the members, the citizens of this nation could learn? What could we do to go towards light more, not enter darkness more? You should really hear this Bhakti Sutra about rejoicing or about dealing with conflict, where he says, for some moment until you calm down, be indifferent. Don't raise more conflict by adding to the conflict. Center. For a moment, look to both sides of the equation in the solution. What would this do? And as you do that, you will find that solutions come that are not more destructive and damaging. We do not throw a bulldozer to a building to fix some problem in a building and smash the entire building. We do what we have to solve it, look into it, but don't look into it as an identity. Don't look into it as becoming that. We do not want a culprit to be identified as a culprit because that is their future. We don't get locked into victimhood because then that becomes our future, and we invite all this vibe. Family becomes forgiving, and they learn and grow and make changes where necessary. But that comes because you embrace something greater than what we have been used to, what we consider should be. And then as a result, every individual changes from where they are, they expand, and as a result, we all grow. There is something called the collective unconscious and the collective conscious. My suggestion, I don't have answers, is all of us, because we walk the path, we are walking it. No one has reached it. We are all walking it. We all seek to lean into being collectively conscious, elevated spirit operators, not matter ego operators, not separate dividing right and wrong operators, but whole, one, together. Because in our essence, we are one. In our essence. And the power governing the world, if you look from a narrow perspective, everything seems like a shamble. A little tree is being drowned by the big tree. But what does the little tree do? Moves around and captures the sunlight, or takes the roots and ties it into the intelligence of the root and the plant system and nourishes itself. Wider lens on life for problems and wider lens on life for solutions. Don't just fall back onto the conditioned past that says, just pick up all the arrows and shoot. Don't do that. Don't throw a bulldozer. Don't shatter the glass by throwing a stone. I offer peace and prayers, and perhaps ask everybody to be more dynamic in transforming one's own mind to something greater and wider. Trust will set you free. I just see your hands. Thank you. I believe that was one of your questions. Yes, I see some of you. I see that somehow you feel relieved, and I'm very happy for that. In the end, there just aren't two. There just isn't another. There just isn't a right and a wrong on one level, on the essence level. And we are navigating. And those who are running the universal consciousness or constitution have a perspective we can never understand. But this is where we go into faith. Trust what we cannot see. Trust that there's a higher, greater good. Only that will come to me. Okay? Wow. So now I've taken an hour of your time. You have all been here. um, and supportive and gracious and so on. So again, you are loved by a power greater than we can see. I love you guys. I send you prayers and best of wishes and blessings. Take good care. Now my technology talent will come into play to make sure that I know how to save this. Ciao, ciao, Ale. Thank you for all that love. You gifted an hour of knowledge. God bless you for being here, because if you come, I get to strengthen my soul and my spirit and expand my own mind. So we're in this together, you know. I got my answer I really needed. Great. Thank you. Very happy for that. Okay. So stay here. I love you. Thank you also. I'm going to try to save this because there's all kinds of notes about please save and post. So I will do my best. Lots of love. Ciao.